Welcome everybody, I'm Andrew Roberts and I'm joined today by David Clouter and we are the Professors of Property. So, I'm liking what we're saying, but let me have a think about this. I'm really having a good think, David. What have the government done to help so far? We got all put into a lockdown situation. That typically would cause a crash because all activity stops. So what have the government done to stimulate the market to date?
Well, they've been trying to facilitate in all sorts of ways. The most probably notable of which, and the one that will spring to everybody's mind, and everybody who's thinking of buying or selling a house will be acutely aware of, is this absolute slash of stamp duty rates for the properties under £500,000, and it's unless it's a second property, you're paying no stamp duty at all, which is quite out incredible, absolutely outstanding, and what kind of that's not the same as a 1% change in the VAT rate or something. That's something that you're really going to feel immediately. And people are going to get a short-term hit of 5,000, 10,000 or something of cash, and this is not the same. This is not the same as government handouts, because government handouts make us feel that there's a crisis and we don't tend to spend that money. But saving £10,000 on a house purchase, you say, well, hey, we'll have all new carpets or this kind of thing. So that feeds money back into the economy, which in turn makes it finds its way sooner or later back into the housing market. So that's a really good sign.
Yeah, I'd be a bit contrarian. There's only 64% of the population who own a house, and if you own a house, should I go out and sell this house just to go and buy another house to save some stamp duty? It's only going to impact a small percentage of the marketplace, isn't it? Surely?
Yes, but I think we'll see the amount of churn that we might normally see in this. How many months is it? July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. It's a sort of 9-month holiday, isn't it? So we're likely to see probably all that 9 months of activity come, in 2020. People are they're not going to be able to wait, and also particularly as there's possible uncertainty ahead, they're all going to rush out and buy stuff, and so there will be maybe not a massive boost to the economy overall, because maybe we're only talking about 5% of 60%, but there will be something.
Okay. So, what about landlords? They account for 20% of the property that's owned, and there's been attacks with Section 24. There's been the fact that tenants have had payment holidays. In addition, tenants have been given effectively the ability to not be evicted for 6 months, and now that's getting extended a little bit further. So, could the government do anything to oil the wheels in that particular part? It's 1 in 5 properties, 20% of the housing market.
It's possible, isn't it? We've seen, even before COVID, we saw was it in Manchester, where a handful of students actually managed to get all their year's rent back because of compliance issues on behalf of the landlord, who still had to carry on paying his mortgage. He was a naughty fella, but the thing has been increasingly stacked against landlords. But I think with all these things, it's, will the government feel sufficient pain to go out there and help the landlords, or will they feel that it might affect their electoral prospects next time around?
Good point. Well, something that wouldn't affect their electoral prospects is to incentivise first-time buyers. There's the Help to Buy scheme, and they could oil the wheels on that. And on our last video, we were asked if we could produce a future video on the Help to Buy scheme. So David and I have that one in production. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't. Share this video, of course. And we look forward to catching up with you when we release that particular video. So, David,
Indeed, and hope you'll be able to join us for that and all the videos that we make in the meantime. Governments also have traditionally helped. This happened under Margaret Thatcher, who wanted to encourage home ownership because she felt that people who owned their own homes would be more likely to vote Conservative, let's be blunt about this, than those who were living in council accommodation and so forth, or rented accommodation. And so there was this scheme called Myras, which I think was the most fantastic thing ever, whereby you would get mortgage interest relief at source against your salary if you were a homeowner. And this went on for quite a long time until the Conservative Chancellor Nigel Lawson took a little nibble at it in, I think it was 1989, and Gordon Brown abolished it altogether in the early 2000s, saying it was a middle-class perk. And I guess he abolished it for the same reason that Margaret Thatcher introduced it.
well, when 64% of people own their own property, I suppose that must be a middle class perk, because there's only 36% who don't. But
Indeed, but I mean, so do the great middle classes or whatever, and I use that term loosely, do they make up 64% of our population?
that's a great one. What's your views? Comment below, please, and I'd like to hear your opinion on that. David, that was fantastic, discussing what a government can and should do to prevent a property price crash. In our next video, we will be looking specifically at how we can make money, everybody can make money in a property market crash. So it's thank you from me, Andrew Roberts.
And thank you from me, David Clouter. We hope you'll join us again next time.
We are the Professors of Property. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button.